Hi everyone, welcome to today's Monday Rapid Fire. I just finished filming a 33-minute Monday market update for the masterminds. I will just say that myself and Joe are going to pump up our own tires because we are incredibly proud of our analysis over the last week or so. To just not throw the baby out with the bathwater with everything that was going on. We were seeing a lot of signs telling us that this was a fairly normal but violent correction, that altcoins had capitulated, Bitcoin had capitulated, and technically, and if you look at on-chain and a lot of other indicators that we look for in terms of tops, none of it was firing. And it really brings you back to those first principles. When you see value, you buy value. And when you see a sentiment depression like we saw, which, I was seeing calls for bear markets, I was saying calls, it's all over, this kind of stuff. And when you've been around a few cycles, you understand that the corrections that make you start to think like that are the incredibly good corrections. They're the ones that shake as many people out as possible before the resumption of the uptrend or up only. So if you were caught out by this latest move, one, I'd say come join us in the mastermind level, because that's exactly what we tried to wrap our arms around everyone over the last week and just think through this. We released a lot of content. There were a lot of emails, a lot of DMs, and a lot of videos. It was a lot of fun. And I know Joe and I have been around the traps many, many times. And for us, this was just like water off a duck's back, and we kind of saw right through it. Now, that said, we were also sober to the reality that, if X level fell, if, this sort of stuff continues for a certain amount of time and we get some triggers met, then yeah, we have to pivot our strategy. But it is so important to have an upside and a downside strategy, a long-term visualization and plan and overall strategy for your portfolio versus chopping in and out and getting shaken out in that short-term dance, which is going to kill you. It's going to kill your portfolio, and it's going to mentally, destroy you from this market. You'll never come back ever again. So that's all I want to say on that front. Really proud of all the masterminds, and really proud of the graduates and the VIPs that are, still getting really active. And I was seeing a lot of positive signs in the Discord from graduates and VIPs, kind of like, this doesn't feel right. There's a lot of value I'm seeing here, even though everyone's saying, run for the hills. Financial markets are the only place where when everything goes on sale, everyone runs for the exits. You want to be the contrarian in the room. You don't want to be the sheep that is just running out. In a short-term trading sense, sometimes you really do. You can cut risk really quickly and move out and wait for the dust to settle. But as a longer-term investor, if you're positioning for Bitcoin at 130,000, 150,000, 200,000, 300,000, you're hoping that Bitcoin dips back from 100K. And when it happens, it can be violent. It's supposed to be emotional. Everyone's panic selling into the market. Where are we this morning? Back above 94,000. Right now we're at 92,000. I'll get into the chart in a sec. But again, perspective is so important. Now, if you've been watching my content, some of the mastermind stuff, and it's leaked into the VIP and graduates, you will know that I have maintained, and Joe for the most part as well, we've maintained essentially full allocation to the market and using Bitcoin as our stable coin. It is the highest conviction, least volatile, best performing asset out there, bar none. Apart from the short-term periods of outperformance, which you're trying to strategically move into altcoins to get. But right now, Bitcoin is the place to be. And on any big dips in Bitcoin, we want to get active. Now, what I think's happened over the last few weeks and months, people started listening to what we've been saying in terms of Bitcoin is king, Bitcoin only for the most part, unless something else is outperforming. A lot of people would have, and just broadly out in the market as well, just in proper, they would have been like, God, altcoins, it's just not the right time to be in them. They've liquidated, they've moved into Bitcoin, and then what Bitcoin's done is had a fairly typical normal correction at the back end of the liquidity suck out. So altcoins led it with a couple of capitulations, and Bitcoin did the same. But for people that have just moved into quote unquote safety of Bitcoin, they've been smacked around the head one last time. And for a lot of people, it's just too much. I will again say, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is just how liquidity moves. So with that on the back end, the reason why Joe and I have wanted to maintain full allocation to this market, one, we fully believe and firmly believe we're in a Bitcoin bull market. The macro dictates that we want to have some allocation to Bitcoin. And three, at any point in time, we could have something like this pop up, where Donald Trump tweets about Bitcoin and crypto, or something big happens, a sovereign adoption, whatever, and we just pump the price. We do a 20%, we almost got to be a 20% drop, then we do a full recovery back 92,000, everyone's liquidated, and then everyone's chasing. And Trump here has tweeted about it. And I really found this high part really funny. But you can see here, we're heading towards not a Bitcoin only reserve in the short term, but we're heading towards a digital asset reserve. So XRP, Solana, ADA, Bitcoin ETH. I personally think it's really silly. Why are you putting this in the Bitcoin reserve? Highly volatile crypto assets that are centralized. And I'm by no means a full-blown Bitcoin maxi, but this just doesn't really make sense to me. So why not put Nvidia in a sovereign reserve? I think over time it will become more obvious that Bitcoin needs to be, I guess, the sole reserve, while these just trend down against Bitcoin. So I think performance over time will be really important. Also, as bullish as this is in the short term, longer term, I just don't know, because if these cryptos get smoked in a bear market, or there's just an enormous drawdown, massive instability in a crypto reserve could cause massive issues for litigators and lawmakers in the United States. And they'll be looking at these assets going, why the hell are we putting on the balance sheet? It creates a bit of bad PR for the space. Like Bitcoin will come out looking like roses in the end, but this stuff here could be a double-edged sword. So we just want to keep that in mind. But that said, in the short term, XRP, Cardano, Solana, Bitcoin, and ETH. Let's go. Now, the finer points of this, in terms of can this actually be done? Does it have to pass Congress and Senate? I don't know. The original Bitcoin reserve idea, I was under the understanding, same with like the Loomis bill, has to pass both houses, Senate and Congress. So I want to dive a bit more into this before I sort of give you my 2 cents on that. My sense is the sovereign wealth fund will be potentially that gateway for a lot of these assets. So that might come towards the back of the year. But this is kind of like the shot of heroin in the market that I think that was needed. There needed to be some kind of resumption catalyst. That said, we just want to be careful, and I'll get to the chart in a sec, that we're not FOMOing into anything. So there's a bit of noise on this chart, and I'll just sort of delete some of it so you can give you a bit of an overview. But this is almost the classic deviation V-shaped reversal, which very rarely happens, but in bull markets, it can happen quite a bit. But we're just so accustomed to having, a bottom, a bit of a bleed, a grind. So in a way, we're pretty lucky to get that tweet to just shove us all the way back above that 92,000 level. My big level when we were down here, and I was saying to the mastermind, I was like, guys, you have time. You can be patient here. Wait for 82,000 to get a daily close above, maybe 1-2 days. And it's all about sort of timing and risk. How much risk are you willing to take on? You are taking on risk by getting a discount at this point in time. But again, longer picture with Bitcoin, that's fine. Altcoins, again, you're taking on risk to get a discount. You are paying a premium if it goes higher, but you're also paying for more confidence and I guess confirmation that it's heading a little bit higher. And 92,000 was my next level. So 82,000 is gone right now. It's just gone. I don't know if you're going to see that again unless we get a rejection here at 92,000. So that's the whole point of this week now, and in the next few daily candles, is can we hold above 92,000? Now, I really think here that, and like we're doing today, is we're going to have a feeling out of the 92, 91, 90,000 again, just to make sure that this level is, I guess, secure. If it's not, we'll drop down back into the 80s and we'll range back in there underneath, 92 or 90,000 again, which is fine as well. But we're just looking for confirmation and market direction. Right now, this area just wasn't welcome and buyers stepped in immediately, which is exactly what you wanted to see. And we kept just drowning lower. We actually had the RSI. I shared to the masterminds. I think I sent it to the other groups as well, that we were approaching COVID levels of being oversold. At the end of the day, what we're looking for here, guys, is not to pick the exact bottom or sell the exact top. You're never going to do that, and you shouldn't be aiming to do that. But what we want to be aiming for is finding extreme points in markets. So if you're seeing, the RSI being that far oversold, it's like, you shouldn't be waiting for much more than that. It's kind of like, well, this is a hyperextension of whatever move this is. I'm just going to buy this area. I'm just going to either buy some, have some levels stacked a bit lower. If it cracks above this level, I kind of know that the strength is returning and these areas are gone, but I'm going to just saturate this area with some buys and capture something. If you have one full Bitcoin, if you have $100,000 that you're looking to enter the market with, you at least want to maybe enter 20% of that into sub 80,000. It doesn't matter where, just buy sub 80,000. So at least you've captured something. If it goes to 70 or 60,000, fine. You've got 20,000 in at 70,000 after a 20-30% correction. you're probably going to look back and go, that was a pretty good buy. And if you get anything in 60, 70,000, I mean, you're absolutely laughing. So that's the way I look at it here. Short term, again, guys, I'm looking for this sort of feeling out of this area. You can see my alerts there. One already popped off at 93,000. I want to see 92,000 maybe get hit, 91,100. All fine to me. It all depends on daily closes and then ultimately next week. So I think be patient, wait for these closes. Do not FOMO in on some of this stuff. And I've got the Trump coins just here in green. Look, I've had them up towards near the top of my list anyway because they've been reasonably strong. So behind the scenes, people kind of know that these coins are in favor and in vogue. It's why XRP's been moving most of the year. It's why ADA's looked really strong. So I guess Sui's, so there's some outliers here, like Sui, Litecoin, they're kind of moving because of something else going on there, and also Litecoin maybe happens ETF. So HBAR, Litecoin kind of moving on ETF rumors, XLM as well. But the Trump coins, so XRP, Solana, ADA, I've got ETH a little bit. I'm just not interested in ETH. Solana and Sui are likely going to beat ETH, and ETH isn't really even beating Bitcoin. So I think you have to be really patient with ETH until it actually shows some strength. But XRP was so important this morning, guys. Like, you would have seen this big green candle, and an uneducated investor, let's just say you've gotten all out of altcoins, gone into Bitcoin, ridden the move down, or you've gone into USD and you're like, shit, like I sold all of my XRP and now it's done this massive move. I just need to buy back in at the top of this candle. That is the wrong play if you are looking on the shorter term and maybe even longer term as well. We just don't want to be buying into these big candles. You know, the thing with these big moves, though, it's had its move. It's 20-30% right into resistance into the last candle. Someone's just used you as exit liquidity, essentially. And what happens in these type of moves when we get like a tweet like Trump has done? So many degenerates, and I'm saying that we're complimentary to a lot of people who just like to go leverage long and come into the market. But those people have just gone 20, 30x, 10x, leverage long on XRP, ADA, and Solana at the top of these candles. And they're going to get rinsed. So that was my thinking this morning. I'm like, I'm not touching these with a 10-foot pole. I now know which coins are in favor, which is great. So I can ladder in buys if I want. And I've got a level here, which I'm interested in XRP there and down here as well. Those two levels, if I get it from Bitcoin with my orders, I'm happy days. I mean, that's from the top there, I will have bought in at a 10% discount and then a 15% discount. Happy with that. If XRP flips this level, so if we get, a breakout here and a close back above there, then I'm a buyer in this region too, and I can manage risk from that point. That's how I view these markets. I don't want to be buying at the extremes into resistance. It just doesn't make a lot of sense because you will get rinsed. You will get absolutely rinsed. So XRP and ADA look pretty similar. ADA actually looks a little bit better than XRP. We can hold up at this level and, just probably get interested there. So we will have to watch these off and on. Solana here is probably a great example of why we don't FOMO in. So if you looked at on the bigger picture, the reason why I sold some Solana and just didn't want to have a bar of it on a shorter term sense or longer term sense is this level here, multi-year range. You can see it here, bounce, broke down there, fell down here. Where are we right now? We've just run all the way back into resistance. You can see they're spiked above. So many people would have seen this candle above this line this morning and bought it before the close, and then they're trapped above. Suddenly it's closed actually beneath the resistance, hasn't closed above the resistance. You need it to close above to firm support. But here it's running into the top of that. It's got time to come back down through here. I think the smartest play though is to wait for a flip of this support turn resistance. You want it to turn back to support before you get interested and then ride the wave higher versus just sort of gambling underneath it. So there's lots at play here, guys. I just think we can be really, really patient. We're going to see what shakes out in the next few days and hours, but I would suspect we're going to feel out the top of the 80,000 region and low 90,000s, and that's my thinking. And altcoins are probably going to do the same. They're going to have a bit of a retraction here after a bit of exuberance this morning. We have to, again, see how things play out. Also, just wanted to give a massive shout out to Joe with his weekly newsletter write-up. So he did his weightings on Friday, just gone. We've split that up, if you weren't aware, from the signals and also the weightings. He absolutely nailed it. And this man is so dialed into being just emotionally neutral in these markets. He amazes me. He's always my rock as well. I mean, I'm pretty good with these markets now, but if I'm ever sort of thinking one thing or maybe letting emotion get the better of me, let's have a talk with Joe, and he manages to center me completely. So read this. He absolutely nailed it. What kind of psychology he was seeing, what kind of psychology that he thinks you should have to make money in these conditions, and just not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I think a few people may have. And just looking at the data can be so important. And again, having that bigger picture. Think like an oil tanker when it turns. We're in a new trend right now. It's going to take quite a bit for us to turn the other direction. I just don't think we are there as yet. So guys, hope you've enjoyed my rapid fire. They're just 3 points I wanted to bring to you: some charts, the Trump news, and also giving a shout out to Joe. I think we've done really well over the last week. Just keeping masterminds absolutely level-headed. So if that is something that you are interested in, to have that kind of content, and you're a VIP or a graduate, reach out with the team. I've got the link below as well. There's never been a better time to become a mastermind client, where we'll give you that one-on-one support, look at your portfolio, tell you what we're doing all the time, what we're seeing in the market. So yeah, if that's what you're after, let us know below. All right guys, have a great day. See you soon. Bye.